Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 short videos on naming, and naming is a pretty broad thing. Take notes on this. You are allowed to have your notes for the quiz tomorrow, so everybody should get an automatic A. And then I'll point out specifically, okay, here's the thing that the AP College Board is going to expect that you know. It used to be you'd have to know 30 polyatomic ions and a whole slew of other stuff, so they've cut out about 3/4 of the amount of memorization you need to do. With the notes, though, I still expect you to do this. I need you to have some familiarity, because if I go in the lab and you're not good at naming stuff, you'll grab the wrong container, and I've done this, and we were supposed to use sodium sulfate for an actual experiment, and you grab the sodium hydrogen sulfate instead. All of a sudden we've got a problem because the reaction doesn't work, and you could get something potentially hazardous because some of the things can produce toxic gases rather than the thing you're supposed to. So I really need you to know a little bit about naming stuff. This video right here is just going to be on how to handle polyatomic ions. Okay, so the first thing with this is, you've probably seen this before. This was actually a student of mine 20 years ago came up with this. So, let's see if I go over here. Nick, the camel ate a clam for supper in Phoenix. Okay, is that all showing up? Looks like it is. So this is how this works. So a really creative student I had, and she did this. These are called the oxyions. What are oxyions? Well, polyatomic ions is an ion that has a nonmetal with oxygens attached to it, or it can be some other nonmetals that are grouped together and are covalently bonded but move around and act as an individual ion. So like a nitrate ion has a -1 charge, it's nitrogen and 3 oxygens, and it moves around from metal to metal, same way maybe a chlorine ion would in solution. All that stuff will make more sense later. So what goes with this? Well, the consonants tell you the number of oxygens. Vowels indicate charge. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at, right off the get-go, Nick. Nick starts with an N. So we've got nitrogen. Nick's got NCK, 3 consonants, that's 3 vowels. Okay, or excuse me, 3 consonants means 3 oxygens. It's got 1 vowel, so what does that tell you? Well, that means it's got a -1 charge. That's how it works out. Now I'm going to do another video with you on what happens with, it's not the common polyatomic ion, it ends with 8. So if we say nitrate, chlorate, phosphate, that's the most common form of that polyatomic ion. Sometimes you'll have more or less oxygens, and then we have to do some stuff to properly name those things. All right, and I'll show you that in a little bit. All right, let's just do another one. Phoenix. All right, Phoenix, phosphorus. How many consonants in Phoenix? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means it's got 4 oxygens. Okay. What's its charge? Well, it's got 1, 2, 3 vowels. That means it's got a -3 charge. And the reason we have the word 8 in there is to let you know that these polyatomic ions, the name always ends in 8. So this would be phosphate. So that's how that stuff works. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to show you is going to be, okay, what happens if they have more or less oxygens? And I'm going to tie into that then how you use that to name acids.